Good evening, I'm Jim Lara. On the NewsHour tonight, full coverage of another tumultuous day on Wall Street and other markets. A newsmaker interview with Secretary of State Albright about the U.S.-China summit, and a look at some modern Chinese art. It all follows our summary of the news this Tuesday. President Jiang Zemin of China spoke a few words about the stock markets today. He replied, "I have enough confidence," when asked about the Hong Kong drop. Jiang was touring Colonial Williamsburg. He arrived in Washington this afternoon for his summit with President Clinton tomorrow. Tom Bearden reports on Jiang's day and other events related to his visit.
It was a day of ceremony and protest for the Chinese leader. He was greeted by fifes, drums, minuets, and polite applause at Colonial Williamsburg, Virginia this morning. Zhang and his wife donned colonial-style three-cornered hats for the crowd. He later lunched with local leaders.
I hope my current visit to the United States will help enhance the mutual understanding, broaden common ground, and deepen cooperation between our two countries, thus bringing China-U.S. relations into a new era of steady and sound development.
China out of Tibet! China out of Tibet!
Not far away, Amnesty International staged a protest against alleged human rights violations committed by Zhang's government. In Washington, members of the House of Representatives held a hearing on human rights. California Democrat Tom Lantos protested the Chinese leader's presence at Williamsburg.
Cynical photo opportunities by the President of China, seeking out the most sacred places of American democracy in Philadelphia or Williamsburg or elsewhere, will not suffice to cover up the shameful human rights record of the Chinese government.
Chinese dissident Harry Wu told the committee that the Chinese government sells the organs of executed criminals on the international market.
The use of the execution prisoners' organs is a coordinated government policy sanctioned by the communist regime. And according to this communist law, arrested people and sentenced to death and arrange their hospital and the doctor, Chinese doctor is government employee, and go to the execution ground, move the organ from them, and many of them sell it to international markets.
Over in the Senate, Foreign Relations Committee Chairman Jesse Helms met with a group of Chinese dissidents to hear their stories of human rights violations under the current government. Late this afternoon, Zhang flew to Washington, where he was met by Vice President and Mrs. Al Gore. He is scheduled to meet privately with President Clinton before their formal summit tomorrow.
Secretary of State Albright said today China has invited 3 U.S. religious leaders to talks in Beijing. She said that gesture was encouraging and a welcome step in the direction of openness. We'll have a newsmaker interview with the Secretary later in the program.